Hey, what's up guys, just Boost here and welcome back to another One Piece video. Today we have some commentary for the final match of locals in the OPO 9 format. And as you can see on the left we have Jasper, who is playing a pretty interesting deck. Black-purple Luffy, Gear 5 Luffy, Indica Luffy, whatever you want to call this deck. Definitely not one of the top meta contenders. So pretty cool to see it in the finals. And then on the right we have Sudi, who is playing Doflamingo, which is of course like the meta deck, the deck you would expect in the finals. And Sudi, very good player as well, has like multiple top cut finishes. So yeah, pretty interesting. I think we saw the Luffy win the die roll here. So I would assume that means that he will be going first, because like both these decks want to go first, right? The Zoro, not the Zoro, the Luffy to set up the Zoro turn to ramp. And I think like, I'm not sure of the build like Jasper is running, because this deck is fairly, I don't want to say underexplored, but maybe it is a little bit. I don't think there's like one set kind of list for this deck. So very curious to see what cards he is playing. Like, there's multiple ways to go about it. Like, one of the ways is just playing like basically purple cards in Moria, but then, you know, there is some black cards you can play, like the Jinbei, for example. But yeah, it seems like a pretty decent start here for the Luffy, starting with the Law Searcher. So maybe he can pick up the Zoro, or if he already has the Zoro, he can pick up some for later in the game. Like maybe Luffy Taro, or I think he gets the KO event here. That's like put 2 down back to KO a 4 cost, 5 cost. I'm not sure actually, but I don't think it will be relevant if it's 4 or 5 cost anyway, because, you know, he's playing against Doflamingo, so we will most likely only be seeing 4 cost characters and possibly Jozu, but again, that's a 6 cost, so it doesn't really change much, right? Very curious why he picked this card. Maybe signaling he already has like the combo pieces he needs to start rolling later. We see Dofi also with a pretty good start. Just a buggy here. I mean, like, it's not the optimal start, right? It's not as good as having the Perona, but being able to stack top 3 is still fairly strong. And can definitely be enough to set up. I'm not sure how the matchup is, to be honest. Like, we're gonna find out, I suppose. He goes 8 here as opposed to 5-5. Maybe because he wants to keep the Law on the field to possibly attack the buggy if that comes up. I'm not sure. I feel like 5-5 is probably a little bit better here. But again, I'm not really sure why he wants to keep the Law on the field. Like, there might be a reason I'm just not aware of. So he's going to play out the Teach here. Then give like basically all the Dawn to Luffy. Jinbei is gonna play at Weevil, so very solid start for sure for Dofi here. This is like the start you want if you're playing this deck, right? Going to Jinbei into Weevil is also always so strong. We see another Law come down here, so keeps digging for those pieces, and there it is. There is the 3 cost Zoro. So basically, the Zoro says if you put 2 Dawn back, you get 1 active Dawn back, but which is not that good. But with this leader, where you put like 2 or more Dawn back, you get another Dawn back, which is definitely actually very strong. So he's going to play the event here, put back 2 Dawn, use the leader ability and KO the Weevil. Yeah, and then he's gonna swing 8 on Jinbei, and he's actually gonna counter out. So he really wants to stick the Jinbei to the board, probably to keep that pressure, right? And now he doesn't know his top cards anymore, so if he's gonna be swinging with Dofi, it's gonna be blind, but who knows, maybe he has Boa Hancock. Or he does have found Perona now. He does have found. Or maybe he has found Perona now. Sorry, English, very, very hard language. So he's doing a little bit of a think here. I think it's like 4 cards net now? Or 5? Because he did the double counter for the Jinbei. To be fair, he does have the teach, right? So if he plays down the character, he can always do the Dovey effect, unless his hand is just non-warlords, which I guess technically possible, but I wouldn't really expect that. It's a bit rough that the Luffy didn't get to play the Zoro yet last turn, because then the ramp is a little bit, maybe not lackluster, but you really prefer to ramp early, right? He's gonna discard the Nico Rowan blocker here to counter the 5k swing from... okay, that's good. So Dovey plays Law here, bounces the Jinbei he just swung with, and the Buggy as well. And now he will be able to use Teach to play out the Jinbei from the top deck, essentially. And yes, he does exactly that, play out the Jinbei, and now the Jinbei is going to be playing out the Boa Hancock. Okay, and that also... I was actually thinking like he kept the Dawn open to be able to play out the Buggy, but it seems he doesn't need that right now, because he has the Boa to stack the top 3, right? But yeah, definitely very strong position. Very, very strong. It's already looking very rough for Luffy here, not gonna lie. But you know, the Luffy definitely has a very, very strong late game, stronger than Dovey, right? I really think Dovey excels mostly in the early and the mid game, and then because it already applied so much pressure in the early and the mid game, usually it does fairly well at making it through the late game. But the Black Purple Luffy deck actually, you know, has access to Gecko Moria, which I heard is a pretty strong card. Oh, and he's playing the Sanji as well from the structure deck. Alright, that's very nice. Really chipping away at the hand here for the Dovey. And now he does finally have like a actually fairly decent board presence here with the Zoro and the Sanji on the field. However, he is already on 2 life, which is definitely rough, and he doesn't really have anything defensive on the field. He did discard the Nico Robin last turn though, so if he is able to discard something like a Frankie this turn, or I don't know, any other 4 cost basically, that will mean he will be able to do a fairly good Moria next turn. So Jinbei is going to be swinging 5 again here. Then Law is going to go 7, which Luffy is going to take, and then another Boa is going to come down. Once again stacking the top 3, and that means that since he has 2 Dawn open, and 1 rested Dawn will be given to the leader, it means that he will be able to stack his top deck and also resolve the Dovey effect for possibly a good target. Very likely anyway. So he's going to be swinging 7 again, and I really feel... Ooh, I was going to say, I really feel like the Luffy has to counter here, pretty much, because you never want to go to 0 when you're playing against Dovey, right? Because it just makes you so susceptible to not just the Perfume Fleur, but also to just the 4-cost Law being played out and bouncing your blocker, and then... yeah. Dovey doing a little bit of a think here what he wants to bounce, and he decides to bounce the Jinbei, I think, and the Zoro. The Zoro is definitely fine, it has no counter, I think, and then like it's only good to ramp, right? So he's probably never really going to be playing it out again. It's just going to be fodder for Gum Gum Giant, I think. Yeah, Luffy hitting 10 ton here. What I think could have been interesting from the Dovey side is if he bounced one of the Laws. Since his bonus is at 0, if he bounces the Law, maybe next turn you can play it out for essentially free with the Teach into Dovey, or you just literally play out for 4, which I find as well, to bounce a possible blocker that the Luffy is going to be playing out, and then just swing for either 11 or even, well, it depends what he plays out, right, for the Teach. But yeah, it actually does look like Moria is going to come down here, but it only plays out the Robin, if I see that correctly, so not exactly an ideal Moria turn, I would say. Then swing 5, which is gonna get countered, and he's leaving 2 Dawn open, so I assume he has double Gum Gum Giant to not lose the game here to something like Fleur. But we'll see. It's already looking very, very tough. So yeah, actually going to go Fleur here and then swing. Is it 10 with bow or 11? Then the giant is gonna come out. Discard this aura, like I said. Pick up 2 cards. And play out another giant. So going to 13, I think. Which is enough to counter the boa swing. Oh no, it also has plus 2k, of course. So it is it's a little bit hard to see here. But it might be a 13 swing, so you might actually need to pitch another. Or it's just... Oh, you just put all the done under it, I think. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Sorry, not paying the best attention. Then just counter 1k, 1k. I think he discarded the wrong one there. So, I mean, he did survive the perfume swing. But it's not like he is in a super good position, right? Because, I mean, Dofi still has 4 life. He has 2 cards in hand. And Luffy only really has 3 like proper swings, like the Luffy, Sanji, and Moria. So it seems like he's going to be trying to control the field. Where it, I don't know, maybe it would have been worth it to try to push for game. With just the small swings, maybe. Because again, okay. Actually, this is kind of good. This is kind of good. So he does have another Moria, which is going to be able to play out the Frankie. And then the Frankie is going to be able to dig for some more cards. And now he also, since he has both the Robin and the Frankie on field, he doesn't automatically lose to like a lull being played out. So we might actually have a game here, which is nice. And there is the open Dawn because of the Luffy leader effect, right? So if he has another Gum Gum Giant, actually Luffy might just take it here. That's cool. I was already like, okay, it's pretty much over. Dofi has this, but we'll see. That's cool. The Gum Gum Giant is just such an insane card, right? Actually, unreal event. Being able to go for to boost plus 4,000 and then just for free, basically, because you get the same amount of cards you use, like the card itself and the card you discard back by drawing 2 cards, and you get to cycle your hand as well. Actually crazy. So another boa is gonna come down here, stacking the top 3. Yeah, I'm curious where this is going. Like, even if he has the Dofi gets to something like what's called Gravity Blade, or maybe a second Perfume. I'm not sure what's in his list. It's still gonna be super, super tough, but it's actually kind of possible that next turn the Luffy just wins. Depending on what we're gonna see. That's actually also very strong. So he blocks the 7k swing here. And the Moria is gonna be picking up the 2k counter, Mihawk. Sometimes the gameplay in this game goes a little bit fast, like the swing, the leader or not the leader effect, but the Dofi effect hasn't really properly resolved yet, and then Luffy already counters or blocks, which kind of gives additional information to the Dofi player about how he wants to play the rest of his turn. And here Luffy counters 7k. Yeah, I think that's definitely correct, actually. Ooh. Is Luffy gonna take it there? The Usahachi rests the boa? I mean, he might. He might. Ooh, this is very, very interesting. He's gonna go 8 on life. Okay, take. This might just be it. Usohachi coming in super, super clutch. Maybe just go 9, 9, 10. here, and then you still have the 5k swing from the Frankie. Ooh. He decides to go for board. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Actually, I am sure how I feel about this, and I would have I would have gone for face, I think. I think he probably would have got it, right? Dofi's on like 3 cards in hand. I mean, yeah, that's rough. Now he's just doing like a really big think here, what he wants to be doing. I guess like he can still try to go for game, but at that point, why did you use the Moria swing to hit the boa, right? I really think he would have had it here if he went for face. But maybe he has like another blocker, and like if he does have another blocker, I can understand why you would play it like this. Ooh, so he does this card to protect the Moria, and so Luffy has like how many cards in hand? 1 or 2? I think this should be it for Dofi. But I really feel like he could have got it here, right? Like, of course, we don't know his hand, and apparently he did have double 2k, 1k at least. But yeah, so the Gravity Blade's gonna come down here to get rid of the blocker. Which is very strong since the Teach is on field, right? So basically, he's gonna have to draw double 2k here to win from the Gum Giant. Because now Dofi can do Teach effect to give the 2 Don to Dofi, and then attach the last Don as well to go 8. Oh, oof, big oof. So close. So yeah, Dofi takes it, I guess, as expected, right? Because I already said like Dofi is the top meta contender. And I think they're probably talking here about if he could have won the game if he went for face, and I mean, I think so. I think he would have, because the boa has no counter, right, and then just plus 1k. So he would have gone 9, then probably 9 again, then 10, he can counter out exactly, and then he would have still have the 5 swing from Frankie. So yeah, if he did go 9, 9, 10, 5, he would have won. It would have been over. So yeah, pretty unlucky, but very cool game. I think generally the game was played out pretty well on both sides. It's just a little missed opportunity for swing for game, but GG regardless. And deciding when to go for game and when to go for control is definitely one of the hardest things in this game, right? I mean, I've been there, so I've lost games where I should have gone for game, but I didn't, and then lost because of that. So definitely, yeah, part of the game. GG, and yeah, hopefully next week I'll do another one of these, and hope we get some cool decks in finals again. If you didn't, be sure to like the video, leave a comment if you want, and subscribe, of course, if you haven't yet. And then I'll see you in the next one. Bye.